All right, let's talk about survival mode. In this module, we're going to talk about what it means to live in survival mode and how to begin healing from it. If you ever felt like you were just trying to get through the day or just trying to keep your head above water, this part is for you. Let's start by defining what is survival mode. What survival mode really is. So, survival mode is your body's built in system for protection. It activates when your nervous system perceives danger, whether that danger is real or perceived, and it shifts you into one of four stress responses. Those stress responses are fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So, fight is when you become aggressive or confrontational to regain control. Flight is when you withdraw or leave or avoid the situation altogether. Freeze is when you feel stuck. So you have that feeling of numbness, maybe you feel paralyzed or you shut down. And then fawn is when you try to appease or please or, make others comfortable to avoid conflict or pain. All of these are valid responses. They're not personality traits. They helped you survive when you didn't feel safe. So, common signs that you're in survival mode might include constantly feeling anxious, maybe hypervigilant or restless, struggling to rest or feel safe or even relax, feeling emotionally numb or disconnected. You might overeat, undereat, or even rely on substances, anything that temporarily soothes but doesn't heal. So that's relying on the alcohol, weed, cigarettes, food, sex, shopping, or even overworking. Anything that temporarily soothes, but it doesn't actually heal. It acts as a band-aid. Feeling like everything is urgent or overwhelming is another sign of survival mode. And then difficulty trusting others or yourself. This can look like second guessing everything, second guessing your decisions, needing constant validation, or feeling afraid to rely on your own voice and intuition. So you seek the approval of others. This mode, so survival mode, may have helped you survive childhood or traumatic situations. But if you stay in it long term, it begins to wear you down. So you end up feeling the effects physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, and even spiritually. So, common ways that survival mode impacts your life. Let's break down some of these effects and what they actually mean. So, overthinking. Overthinking is constant mental spinning or obsessing or analyzing every detail. Catastrophizing. Catastrophizing is expecting the worst possible outcome in any situation. Then there's codependency. And that is prioritizing other needs over your own, needing others to be okay for you to feel okay. And then there's people pleasing. People pleasing is saying yes when you really want to say no. And you're doing this in order to avoid conflict at all costs. Trust issues. Trust issues is struggling to feel safe with others due to past betrayals or abandonment. Hustle culture. Let's talk about that for just a second. So, feeling like you have to constantly work, achieve, or produce in order to be worthy. That is an impact of survival mode. It is exhausting. I'm speaking from experience on this one. Burnout. Burnout is physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion from prolonged stress or being overworked. And then there's fear of rest. Fear of rest is when you have guilt or anxiety when you slow down, as if rest equals, laziness or failure. Financial chaos. So, disorganization, maybe you have fear around money, maybe there's impulsive spending or avoidance of finances altogether. You won't even look at them. I went through that one. Scarcity mindset. Scarcity mindset is the belief that there's never enough. And not just money or food, but there's never enough time, there's never enough love, there's never enough support, never enough money. And that can have you in your flight or fight mode, or you feel like you have to hustle to survive. And so your body may carry, the impacts of survival mode. It may carry survival mode within it. And that looks like chronic stress, insomnia, hormonal imbalances. You might even have gut issues, high blood pressure. The mind is where the overthinking, the catastrophizing, the memory issues, the irritability. And then your emotional state. That's when you have the emotional outbursts, the numbness, and the shutdowns. Survival mode impacts your relationships. That's the codependency, the people pleasing, and the trust issues. And then money and work. That's where the hustle culture, the burnout, the fear of rest, financial chaos, and scarcity mindset come in. When your nervous system is stuck in survival, you cannot access peace, even when nothing is wrong. But here's the good news: you can actually rewire your nervous system. It's called neuroplasticity. So your brain can form new pathways, and you can teach your body what safety feels like. So the body can learn what safety feels like. So that means that you're not stuck. Change is always possible. So let's go over a couple of tools that you can use for healing. The first being grounding. Grounding reconnects you to the present moment and to your body. It brings your awareness out of fear and anxiety or disassociation and back to what is real and now. So, grounding consists of you walking barefoot outside. We've all heard those jokes about the tree huggers, and you see people walking around outside barefoot in grass. Well, there's actually validity to that. So, the earth has a natural electric charge that helps to regulate your nervous system. So, you can stand or walk barefoot on grass, soil, or sand for at least 5 minutes. And that has healing properties to the body. Not just your nervous system, though. It can actually assist in healing inflammation in the body. And there's other ways that it heals the body as well. There's something called the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. And in this technique, you name 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can feel, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. What this does is that it helps to anchor your senses. That is assisting in bringing you back to the present moment. And then deep belly breathing. Deep belly breathing consists of you taking a inhale. So you inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4. And then you're going to hold your breath for 4 counts. And then you're going to exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 counts. Repeat this 3 to 5 times. And what this does is that it slows down your heart rate and it calms your body. And it sends a signal to your brain that you're safe in this moment. Another healing tool is to create safety. And creating safety rituals is simple. So you can do things such as mirror work, standing in the mirror, looking yourself in the eye, and telling yourself that you love yourself, that you're beautiful, and that it's safe for you to rest. You can do journaling, using journal prompts to express how you feel in this moment. Uh, I'm safe in my body right now. Meditation. I've heard meditation um, described as listening to the all, God, Yahweh, the universe, your higher self, the infinite, Jehovah, Allah, however it is you choose to identify it, that's your way of listening to that, whether it's your intuition, your inner voice. And then prayer is your way of talking to it. So meditation is a way to help you calm your mind. And it doesn't necessarily consist of stopping your thoughts, but maybe just focusing on one thing for an extended period of time, right? It helps to regulate your nervous system. Your nervous system needs consistency to feel safe. These practices gently stimulate the vagus nerve, which controls your rest and digest response. So, another healing tool is to regulate yourself daily. And you can do that through movements such as gentle stretching, dancing, or yoga to release stored stress and increase circulation. You don't need a full workout. You just need to move your body in a way that feels good to you. Again, meditation. Meditation is sitting in stillness for 5 to 10 minutes. If you're not able to start with 5 minutes, maybe it's too long, start with 1 or 2 minutes. Focus on your breath or repeat a calming mantra such as, I'm safe, I am grounded. Meditation rewires your brain for presence and peace. And another little known healing tool is laughter. Laughter, play, and creativity. This activates the joy centers in the brain and it helps you to restore a sense of lightness. You can draw, color, sing, journal, or do anything playful that lets your nervous system experience safety and expression. And then slow down. I encourage you to slow down. Give yourself permission to rest without guilt. Shorten that to-do list that you have. Choose presence over productivity, which means being fully in the moment rather than constantly chasing the next task, accomplishment, or to do. We often run in go, 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 go mode. So slow down and be present. Presence is where peace lives. And then reparent your inner child. When you feel overwhelmed, pause and ask yourself, what do I need right now? Speak to yourself kindly, just as you would a scared child. All right, we got an activity. So this is a nervous system reset and safety scan. I invite you to find a quiet space. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and then slowly exhale for 6 seconds. I encourage you to repeat that 3 times. Place your hand on your heart and say, "It's okay for me to feel safe now. We are not in danger right now." So then in your journal, I invite you to complete the sentence, "I feel safest when," and then you fill in that blank. Make a list of 5 things that bring you peace. Post them somewhere where you can see them and return to them often. And then your journal prompts for this section are: what parts of my life feel like survival? What makes me feel unsafe or on edge? What does true safety feel like in my body? And what's one thing I can do daily to soothe my nervous system? So I invite you to remember that you are safe now. Survival mode helped you get through what you weren't meant to face alone. It kept you alive. But now you're safe enough to live, not just survive. Every breath you take with intention, every boundary you set, every time you pause to ask yourself what it is that you need, you're retraining your body to believe in peace. You're safe now. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to receive, and you're allowed to heal. Let's keep going.